Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss about the CLAT exam going online. You might have heard by now that CLAT 2015 will be conducted online by Ram Manohar Lohia National Law University, which is based in Lucknow. So let's understand what does it mean to the students. As students, you would have a lot of thoughts in your mind. So today we'll try and dispel some of the fears associated with it. Before we go ahead, my name is Padma Parupudi and I'm the product director for Abhyaas Law Prep, which is mentored students to prepare for the law exams for the last 5 years. Now, I'm a postgraduate diploma in cyber laws from NALSAR in Hyderabad. Prior to this, I was an IT professional and I had 15 years of IT experience, of which 12 years were with Tata Consultancy Services, during the course of which I have traveled to multiple countries like Japan, USA, Australia, and of course major work has been in India. And my qualification was Master of Computer Applications or MCA, which was in University of Hyderabad. After the stint of IT industry, I have co-founded this training venture, Abhyaas EduCorp, and within that I am the envision this product for Abhyaas Law Prep. I will explain a little more about the different courses that are there towards the end of this lecture. Now, let's see, CLAT 2015 is a new avatar. Why I say new avatar is till 2014, the exam was paper-based, where you had to write your responses, mark your responses on the OMR sheet, and today you have the computer-based exam. Now, what's the first thing that strikes you, or what is the major change as far as taking the exam is concerned? The biggest change, I would say, is that you shift from using a pencil and marking your responses on an OMR sheet to looking at a screen and then marking your, looking at the sheet, doing your rough work on paper, and then marking your answers back on the screen. That's the biggest shift as far as taking the exam is concerned. Now, is that good? Is that bad? There are pros and cons for everything. So let's look at the exam itself and see how this will impact. If you see the CLAT exam, there are 5 areas. The areas are English and comprehension, has 40 questions. Logical reasoning, there are 40 questions. General knowledge, we have 50 questions. Legal aptitude, another 50 questions. And 20 questions in maths. As on date, there has been no change announced regarding the pattern. The only change they have said is that they will also allow the exam to be taken in Hindi, but even again that is subject to the CLAT committee approval. It is not yet, it is still pending the approval. However, now let's look at which of these sections get impacted by the online format. If you take, say, English, general knowledge, legal aptitude. Now these 3 sections have more or less not very limited working that you will need to do. So it's like you read a question and then you will answer it. You do not have to do any kind of a calculations. So the usage of rough paper in these is very, very minimum. It's a very rare situation that you will actually need to do any calculations. So for all these sections, which comprises about 140 questions or approximately a little less than 3/4 of the paper, you will not have any impact from based on the whether it is on paper or whether it is on computer. So that's the first, you can say, impact, which is actually not a negative at all. It's almost the same. Now let's look at the 2 sections which are logical reasoning and maths. These two sections are the only ones which will need you to do some kind of calculations. Again, within logical reasoning section, there are two areas, which is analytical reasoning and critical reasoning. Critical reasoning, again, only very few questions will need calculations. So if you see, on the whole, you can say not more than 20% of the exam actually needs any calculations. So how should online exam be any different from a paper-based exam as far as doing calculations is concerned? Absolutely, very, very minimum change, if you ask me, whether it is on paper or whether it is on computer. So that is a big, big plus. So yes, you might have in your mind that, okay, now I have to do this on computer. So far I've always been doing it on paper. But then if you see, it's not really much of a change. So that's the first impact, I would say. Now, the second impact that you have is marking on OMR versus marking an answer on the computer. If you ask me, here again, this is a benefit rather than it's a positive impact rather than a negative one. Why is that so? In an OMR, if you mark an answer incorrectly and then you need to erase that answer, just imagine the time that you will need to take. You will first have to erase it, make sure that it's completely whitened, and then you will mark your other option. But in the case of a computer exam, all you need to do is, if you have marked option A, you just now need to click, and if you feel the answer is option C, you just have to click on C. There is no undoing of the first answer. So that way you're actually not losing any time. So here, this is actually a gain in time. Now you'll have another question. What if I, generally on a paper, I would put a tick mark for all the questions that I would come back and do later. That is also possible in an online exam. The format is not yet released. However, every online exam will have an option for marking for review. It would be generally called marking for review. So if you are looking at a question and you know that you want to come back to it at a later stage, you can simply select the option or click on the option mark for review. Once you're done with the entire section, or if you're done with the entire exam, you want to come back to all the questions that you have marked, you can easily navigate through all the marked questions. So that way, in fact, the computer will actually think or do that job of identifying the next question that you need to look at. You don't have to scan the entire question paper to look at which are the ones that you have missed. So again, there you save time. So far what we have seen is only the saving of the time or only positive impact of the online exam. There is no, or I would say that's very, very minimum challenges that you will face in this situation. So now let's look at a few questions that will be there in your minds. I'm sure a lot of questions are going on in your mind. Let's say the first question is, I'm taking the exam in the first season of its going online. So am I at a disadvantage? What do you think so? Every year, the number of CLAT takers is 31,000. Last year, it was 31,231 people took the CLAT exam last year. Now, just imagine, this year it could probably go up by another, say, 5,000 people or maybe 2,000 people. So the impact, if it is new for you, it is new for all the 32,000 people. So what does that mean? Are you going to be at a disadvantage? The same risk that you are facing will be faced by all the 32,000 people. So in that case, why should you worry about it? The same way, when you say an exam is easy or an exam is difficult, if it is easy for you, it is easy for all the 32,000 people. Or if it is difficult, it is difficult for all of them. So a CLAT exam is a competitive exam, unlike the traditional board exam that you write. In a board exam, it's all about the marks. So you are always trying to see that you get your percentage is what matters here. But in a competitive exam, or any competitive exam for that matter, what is important is not the actual number of questions that you get right, but it is also important that how your others how the other people who are writing this exam fare in this exam as compared to you. So you need to always, it is about the competition that is a bigger focus here rather than getting everything right. So here, if it is easy, then yes, the cutoffs could be higher. If it is a difficult exam, people would have not have done that well, so the cutoffs could be lower. So it's always a comparative scale rather than an absolute scale in this matter. So yes, the risk is the same for all the CLAT takers. Yes, is this clear to everybody? You've got your doubt cleared. Now the second question that is there in a lot of students' mind is that I am from a small town. Will I lose out to the students in metros and bigger cities? Now let me ask you this question for all those who are in a smaller town and you want to attempt CLAT. In what way is your town different from, or what in terms of the facilities, in what ways are you at a disadvantage compared to the students in the bigger cities? In terms of, say, the technology, the difference is not that great, because if you look at the internet speeds today, with the kind of speed that is available, the kind of technology that is available, you have computers and internet access in every nook and corner of the country. So there is no way that you are going to be at a disadvantage. Now, the other thing I would say, all of you use mobile phone in some way or the other, and most of you would use your mobile phone for making calls maybe just 10% of the time, and the rest of the usage of the phone is either for chatting or it is for surfing on the internet. So now you are already familiar with reading on the screen, with navigating on a computer or navigating on the screen. So in what way would you be handicapped? I don't think that is a handicap at all. So let's see, with CLAT going online, on the other hand, what I would say is you have better options for online preparation. Today, if it is a paper-based exam, the chances that you have CLAT preparation happening right in your town is very, very less, because you need to have a significant number of people who are attempting CLAT in your town in order for anybody to set up a CLAT test preparation center in your town. However, with CLAT going online, now you also need to take online tests. And if you're taking online tests, it doesn't really matter whether you're taking it from the comfort of your town or you are having the same exam being conducted in the cities. So that way, I would say you have, it's become the exam going online is actually benefiting you, because if you are in a small town, you have access to the tests at the comfort of your home itself. And as long as you have the determination and you have the dedication to do it, I think you would be absolutely fine taking all the tests at home itself. The third question. I started my preparation last year itself for a paper-based exam. Now we are at November and you say it is an online CLAT. So what does this mean to me as a student? Again, I will answer this. There are two parts to test preparation. Any exam, when you are writing, there are two aspects of your preparations. The first step is developing the conceptual knowledge that is required to it. What does that mean? Is it understanding the concepts, learning the formulae, knowing how to approach a question. These are the things that you would do as a part of developing your conceptual knowledge. Once you have done that, you need to develop a strategy for writing the exam. Whether it is a competitive exam, is there negative marking, or which section should I do first? All these are part of developing a strategy. Now, if you're doing your preparation for CLAT, say across a period of 18 months, the first 12 months would go into building your conceptual knowledge or developing your conceptual knowledge, and only in the last 6 months or 4 months is where you will develop a strategy and you will refine your strategy based on the different mock tests that you take. Now, as far as conceptual knowledge goes, as long as there is no change in the syllabus, there is absolutely no change in the conceptual knowledge that is required. So whatever preparation that you have done till date, you can continue to do that. That is, what is that? That's building your reading speed, getting familiar with reading comprehensions, brushing up all your 10th class maths, learning your current affairs, or getting familiar reading the newspaper, whatever you've been doing so far, you can continue to do so comfortably without any problem. The only change that you can do probably is, so far if you have been reading the newspaper in the paper format, you can shift to reading the newspaper on the internet, whether it is on the computer, whether it is on the mobile phone, whether it is on tablet. Get used to reading the passage, reading chunks of information on a screen. I think that's something that you need to do. Now, strategy part will anyway be developed only in the last 6 months. So once from January onwards, you can actually focus on building your strategy. So in that case, yes, you have not lost any time and there is absolutely no reason to panic. Now the question comes, how should I prepare for the online exam? To some extent, I have already answered this. However, what you can do is, today what you can focus on is get familiar with the usage of computer. So yes, you have been using it, but I'm sure that most of your usage has been limited to Facebook and maybe your phone usage to WhatsApp. However, now you need to do more of reading articles, whether it is newspaper articles, whether it is blogs, whether it is some interesting articles that you come across. For all these things, whether it is some concepts that you are learning, try and get familiar with reading on the screen. If you can come across some puzzles, try solving them on paper and then reading something on a screen and then marking something on a paper. You can get familiar with doing that. The second thing I would say is using a mouse. Now a lot of times, yes, you might be using your laptop, you might be using your phone to do a lot of these reading. So to build your reading speed, go ahead, continue to do that. However, the other important thing is, in the exam, you are not going to be using a touch screen. What you will be using is a PC. Now with a PC, and that too with a mouse. So yes, you have to navigate your hand between the mouse and the laptop, and the more comfortable you are doing that, the lesser time that you will waste. So get familiar or get more practice doing that. The second aspect that I would say is, take as many online tests as possible so that you get over all your fears, make all your mistakes in terms of using the online test, so that at the time of taking the actual CLAT, you will be very, very comfortable in taking the online CLAT. Now, if you want to take online exams from Abhyaas Law Prep, we have 25 mock tests that you can take, 10 module tests, 30 topic tests, and we have 20 GK banks, of which 8 are static GK and 12 are current affairs. So we have a lot of options that you can take. Now as you can see, we also have courses for ALP Comprehensive and ALP Extensive. Of course, the next one coming up is for the CLAT 2015 for the ALP Intense. We have an intensive program for 45 days for all the students who are taking CLAT this year, and it is a morning to evening kind of a course with a lot of practice built in along with the concepts and the tests. If you have any doubts, still have any doubts, please feel free to mail us at the given ID here, abhyaslawprep@gmail.com, or you can call to the 2 numbers given here. We have a lot of information which is also available on our website, and you can reach us through our Facebook page also. If you like us on the Facebook page, you will keep seeing a lot of updates from our side. Now on the website, you could actually go to the e-center. e-center on the website, and you will be able to shop for our online test series. So all the best, students. I hope all your doubts and fears related to the online CLAT are dispelled. If you still have any concerns or you want to inquire or get more information, please feel free to mail to our with this ID. The questions will reach me, and I am here to help you and answer all your queries. All the best.